Now we will shift to the in-person panel. I'd like to introduce Angi Martinez, who is the regional director for the Denver regional office. I was looking over here, here you are, to moderate this panel of program managers across the country with different Build Back Better programs so that we can hear from these folks about what this has meant to them. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. That was inspiring, right? It really struck me how all the videos were focused on young people, and the work that you're doing is about the future of your communities, the future of our country. And those young people are going to be our future leaders and innovators. So that was really exciting to see. My name is Angi Martinez. I'm the regional director for the EDA Denver Regional Office. I have the honor and pleasure to work with Debbie and her team on the Build Back Better projects, also multiple other projects around campus and around the city. I also have the honor to work with 3 of the other coalitions, the Heartland Robotics Cluster in Nebraska, the Mountain Plains Coalition team that is not here with us, but I think they'll be on video, and the St. Louis Triangle, Tech Triangle. So with that, I want to invite our panelists to come up. So Leigh, Salem, Kenya, and Angi, come on up, please. Awesome, yeah. You guys have mics? I'll pass it down. All right. So we're going to continue the celebration and continue this discussion of the things that you guys have been accomplishing over the past 2 years. And I want to start, Angi, since you're from the Denver region, we'll start with you. What are you most excited about to celebrate today about the work that you've accomplished over the last 2 years?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not from Denver.
I know you're in the Denver region.
Oh, okay. So I'm practicing in public. So, well, happy birthday, everyone. I want to start off with that. So because I'm nervous, I wrote down what I have to say, so please bear with me. So one story that continually motivates me in our work at BioSTL is that we connected Rung for Women and Thermo Fisher Scientific through the Build Back Better regions. Oh my goodness, my little thing went off. Hold on. Sorry. This is what happened when you're trying to do it. Yeah, I'm nervous, so forgive me. So, so we connected Rung for Women, which is a organization that helps women of color transition into advanced manufacturing opportunities. And so we connected them with Thermo Fisher Scientific, their BRG group, and it's the Women's Empowerment Group, because it's important that people feel welcome to certain spaces, especially if they're not usually traditionally welcome to those spaces. So it was important for us to connect them with women that are already successful in what they're striving to do. And this partnership represents what we strive for, which is leveraging our resources to create a more inclusive workforce. Another inspiring story is BioSTL's support for Rebundle, a Black-owned startup that creates sustainable braiding hair extensions from banana fibers. Who would have thought? We provided Rebundle with interns from historically Black colleges and universities in 2003 and in 2004, giving students hands-on experience in bioscience. One intern from Harris-Stowe State University was so inspired by her work at Rebundle that she launched her own skincare business tailored for women of color. Stories like this show how our efforts not only impact businesses, but also empower individuals to create changes in their communities. It's this tangible impact, bridging gaps in opportunities, skills, and inclusion that reminds me every day while we do this work. We're not just strengthening industries, we're transforming lives and ensuring that everyone in St. Louis has a seat at the table.
Thank you. Thank you, Angie. If you can pass your mic down to Salem, what are you celebrating today? What are you most proud of that you've accomplished?
Sure. Well, I'll introduce myself. My name's Salem Habte, and I'm from New Orleans, and I manage workforce projects and, funnily enough, entrepreneurial projects as a part of our Build Back Better work and general work across, our footprint in South Louisiana. And I do have to shout out Leroy Brown on behalf of Opportunity Hub, a venture platform that we brought to market from Atlanta to run an incubator to support climate technologies from Louisiana and the Gulf Coast. And so something I'm proud of is just the way that this incredible funding and trust from the EDA has enabled us as an economic development organization to attract clean and renewable energy projects to South Louisiana. The impetus for H to the Future was that in traditional oil and gas in our state, 22,000 jobs have been lost over the last 20 years. That's the largest job loss in that energy sector in any state in the country. And so we also know the environmental impacts of that industry. And we know that while providing such lucrative opportunities for our state, there's also an opportunity to make sure that we have a diversified energy economy that serves the people of our state first. And so with that, since 2022, we and our regional economic development partners through this project have worked on $26 billion worth of energy projects that we've been able to attract to the state. And the average job salary count of that compilation of jobs is $77,000. And so we're really excited about that. And, with one of those attraction projects, First Solar came to our region, Lafayette, and they decided to open up a facility for solar panel manufacturing. That wouldn't have happened if we weren't already in close partnership with the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, really supporting their solar manufacturing facilities with this money, right? And so it enables us to bring projects to our region and sort of support the workforce that those companies need. That's the work I'm excited to continue with the help of the EDA.
That's great.
Good morning, everyone. I'm also practicing, so bear with me. So my name is Kenya Asbill, and I am from Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm part of the EDA team for the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs. We build Black business. I am on Project 3 within the Georgia AIM Coalition, and we are fabricating a 53-foot trailer that will be traveling around the state of Georgia, introducing smart technologies to the underserved, underprivileged, undereducated Black and female communities. What I would like to celebrate is making these communities aware of the vast opportunities that are out there for them. A lot of them aren't aware of these opportunities. We're bringing artificial intelligence, manufacturing, all sorts of cool technologies to their communities. One specific example, we host a lot of project events just to introduce them to artificial intelligence and manufacturing. One of our cities that we traveled to was Albany, Georgia. And it was pretty sad because they said nobody cares about them, nobody comes to visit them. They were extremely appreciative of us Atlanta city folks coming and visiting with them and just making them aware of the opportunities. One of our targeted areas, it's non-traditional students. They were excited to learn that you don't have to go to college. I have a degree, certificates, IT certificates. They were appreciative of us sharing information that you don't have to get a 4-year degree to be successful. You don't have to travel outside of Albany to be successful. A lot of the southern smaller cities, they like to stay within their cities and stay with their families. So it was good for us to just let them know, make them aware that you can stay in Albany, you can stay in Macon, you can stay in middle Georgia, and pursue your dreams. So that's what I would like to celebrate, just letting those outside of the city of Atlanta know that there are many opportunities within their own communities.
Thank you. And Leigh?
Wow, what a wonderful celebration. I'm so happy to focus on the positive. We call it fopping in my house rather than flopping. So it's so nice to celebrate with you all. My name's Leigh Bernacchi. I'm from the Fresno-Merced Future of Food Innovation Initiative, which we thankfully rebranded to another acronym, F3, which means Farms Food Future Innovation Initiative. And we're from the Central Valley of California. We are the climate smart agri-food technology hub. Thank you, Wichita, of the world. We have several components. I want to highlight my wonderful colleagues. F3 Local has created a kitchen where people can make their own salsa, jam their own jam, and we are creating small vendor and food businesses that create the local culinary culture and keep that vibrant and everyone can access. Those are 2 kitchens in Fresno, thanks to EDA funding. My colleague Cody Jacobson at Merced College will be talking about the workforce development, but we completed a large survey. 11,000 farm workers told us, shocker, they don't want to grow up and be farm workers. They want to have opportunities and they recognize that education is the pathway to success. So 80% of those farm workers highly value education, and Cody's going to talk about that certificate program that's changing the way community college education is handled in the state. We also have a wonderful 501c3. We've never had a nonprofit organization dedicated to commercialization in the region that is place-based, accessible, agnostic to different technologies, and really focus on inclusive excellence and inclusive innovation. So bringing together farm workers, farmers, industry, and the universities. And Priscilla Cupcake was here. I think she maybe had to catch a flight, but we're so excited to have stood that up and have a representative board. And lastly, on F3 Innovate, I work for University of California, Merced, the #1 school in the nation for social mobility. And that means that economically disadvantaged students finish their degrees and go on, and we're trying to help them retain, retrain, and have a good life like we do in Merced and Fresno. And I'll just highlight that EDA has provided a lot of high quality jobs at the universities through this funding. I have 51 faculty working together. Those of you who work at universities understand that's like 50 raccoons in a trash can, and they are getting along. And we are making progress on our research. And you saw just a couple of our graduate students. We have 30 students who will be the future ag tech leaders, and 150 graduate students or undergraduate students have gotten exposure to technology and agriculture and the possibility there. So thanks.
That's awesome. You guys just aren't twiddling your thumbs, are you? Really getting the work done. You know, I know this work, you've accomplished a lot, and I know it's not easy and it's hard. And some days you're like, what are we doing? And usually it's those personal stories where you know you've impacted someone, or you've had an interaction with someone on your team that's really like been transformative. So I wonder if you could each talk about a story over the past 2 years that has motivated you and really like encouraged you to get up and keep doing it every day.
Hi, again, Angi from BioSTL in St. Louis. I am very motivated by seeing others who come from historically excluded communities transition into the opportunities in St. Louis that are in bioscience, advanced manufacturing, healthcare, things of that nature. One thing that inspired me is we have an externship program that we do in St. Louis, and it's designed to help close the opportunity gap by exposing people from excluded populations to the opportunities that are actually in St. Louis, right in their backyards. Number 2, we help to close the skills gap. So let's say, yes, you see this great job at Thermo Fisher Scientific or wherever else, but you don't have the skill set for it. So we help close the skills gap by offering bio bootcamp training. The third thing that we do is, okay, now you see this job you like, you have the skills, but you don't quite fit in. So that's when we decided to added a mentoring piece to that. The reason why I mentioned that is because we did the pilot last year And I was able to see students from people that look like me, for example, and they were able to go through this externship program for academic year for 9 months. And one lady got out and she was able to get a job at Bayer Pharmaceutical in St. Louis, which is huge because before that, she couldn't see herself there. So it's stories like that where I actually see the transition, where I knew the person before, like, the before and after pictures when people, do weight loss or whatever. That's what I like to see. I like to see that actually what we're doing is actually making a difference. There was one gentleman who spoke about your small victories, and that's what I focus on. I focus on the small victories and being genuine and seeing the genuine change.
I really get inspired anytime we get to work with the audience that we aim to benefit with H to the Future projects. And so our largest workforce project is with 8 community colleges. And we expanded and created net new programs that are, that service for in-demand skills by a suite of energy industries, such as, solar manufacturing, offshore wind, hydrogen production, and carbon capture. And so of our recruitment goals, engaging our justice impacted and population is a big one. We have 14,000 people that enter parole in our state every single year, which is very large on a national average. And so we started hosting tours for some clients of a nonprofit organization we partnered with, the Louisiana Parole Project, which is phenomenal. And during those tours, I got to sort of attend and sort of see these men kind of engage the programs, be catered to by the community college staff, saying, these are the opportunities that are available in these job pathways in the field of energy. You could be making $100,000 or more by becoming an electrician with not a long amount of training, right? And those are the programs we chose to sort of fund and expand through H to the Future dollars. And working with them, talking to them about their struggles and the opportunities they saw themselves now eligible for because of this coordination was really magical. And then another thing is just we've partnered with 4 HBCUs to open up sort of programs around renewable energy at Xavier, Dillard, Southern A&M, and Southern University at New Orleans. Meeting those students, they're getting snatched up by companies across the country faster than we can sort of attract them. And getting to work with those students and having them realize, wait, I can work at a utility in Louisiana and still be the top in my field in nuclear physics. That kind of exposure, and it's happening in the room, right? These are long-term impacts. Some of this stuff we won't see the impacts for until 5-10 years in the future, but it's really exciting to get to see that impact for a student right now.
So I am a military brat. My dad was in the Air Force for many, many years. Traveling around the world, it would be me, the only Black girl in a lot of the gifted classes, the IT classes. So what really pulls my heartstrings when we're out doing our community engagement is when we get to engage with the young Black girls in the communities that don't necessarily get the encouragement to move forward in IT and technology, and they don't know really what it is, right? They don't know that you can incorporate makeup and fashion and dolls and generally those things that we associate with young girls. But they get really, really excited, especially when the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs, we travel with the project team. We have a group of our our program managers travel with us sometimes to a lot of our project events so that they can share, more about the center and what the center does promoting Black business. And again, these young girls, Pay Foundation, Motherless Daughters. Thank you, Dr. Tamika Head. She's in the back. She was the one that she's on the board for both of those foundations. She connected us to those foundations, and they allow those little girls, the teenagers, to get excited about artificial intelligence, technology, manufacturing. We don't have many of us in manufacturing. So those are just some of the examples that I'd like to share, just making sure that we bring our youth along with this project.
I'm excited to share from an academic perspective, one of my favorite books, Innovation in Real Places. And in it, it says, get out of the way, universities, support the individuals, the agents of real innovation. So I, of course, thought of one of my favorite agents of innovation. His name Adav Gupta. He's a immigrant from India, grew up in Bakersfield, started working for me at 17, teaching robotics to middle school students. Then he's like, you know what's cool? Drones. Let's teach them drones. Everyone has to fly. So imagine middle schoolers flying in front of their peers. Then he became an ag innovation specialist when EDA funded F3. And so he came up with curriculum for autonomous driving of a robot about the size of the tables that you have. The company said that it worked on GPS. He figured it out and used our farm as a test bed for it. So 100 students learned how to autonomously drive these robots, get their hands dirty with the code. And then he's since interned with the company, Farm Angi has these Amiga robots. They loved them so much, they hired him. He was late coming back to school, and he's finishing up his last semester at UC Merced with a computer science and engineering degree and wants to start a company using those robots to service ag fields and gather data to do data-driven decision-making. And he said he wants to hire UC Merced grads. So I think there's 1,000 Aravs out there, and we just need to support them and create opportunities and pathways. But the thing I learned from Adav is it takes time. That's been a number of years working together, and it takes a lot of support. So looking forward to continuing to support people like that.
Very cool. Thank you. So it's clear hearing your stories that the work that you're doing is building a foundation, and it is going to go beyond this grant, years and years. So as the final question, I would love for each of you to talk about what is like the one piece of what you're working on that you most hope is preserved well into the future.
Thank you so much for that question. What I hope is preserved in the St. Louis metropolitan statistical area is the inclusion of the people from the historically excluded communities, that they be included at the table. Because a lot of these innovations and facilities are being built in those communities. When I say those, I mean mine. I'm from a distressed area in St. Louis. And when we see these buildings going up in the area, but we're not invited to come in, then that causes animosity. So in order to allow for sustainability, it's not just about receiving additional grants. BioSTL has done that. And it's not just about making new buildings. That's been done as well. We must include the people from those communities in the progress, in the innovation. Otherwise, it will not be sustainable. So that is my hope, is that we continue to intentionally include the people from those areas in the innovation, in the growth. Thank you.
It's similar to what you said, Angie. I think, you know, I have so much thanks to give to the, not just the EDA, but the EPA and the DOE for creating national language around community benefits. I think that has changed the way I show up at the table with some really ambitious companies in fields like direct air capture or carbon capture, and how they choose to engage with Louisianians and how they plan to sort of engage people around like what's the risk, the potential risk or lack of risk of the work we're doing in your state, in your neighborhood. What are the workforce opportunities, and communicating that? That's stuff that organizations have been doing for years in our state, but it's so awesome that now it's the standard for any partnership project between a private company and a federal agency. That is just, I hope that lasts, right? I hope that language lasts. And then also, just as far as our work as an EDO, I hope we continue to sort of, you know, sharpen up our playbook in attracting renewable and clean energy to the region by bringing together our workforce partners, our universities, which are top notch, our community colleges, in the way that this project has encouraged us to do. You know, we're not swimming in our own lanes now. We're sort of coordinating efforts and making sure we're contributing our unique competency and bringing that to the table. I'm very confident that that will last beyond 2027.
So I would like for us to start screaming out loud instead of whispering about the underserved communities, the undereducated communities that are out there that need us to provide them with the opportunities for equality and inclusion. I'd like for us to continue to do that. Let's stop whispering and just screaming at the top of our lungs. Additionally, our hearts and our minds need to remain focused on those that don't have what we have, right? Those that don't get to experience or be exposed to technologies. And we have robot dogs that we're going to have on our mobile studio. We have an avatar that we're creating. And we take advantage a lot of times of these things because we're, interacting with them teams every day. But there are people out there that have never seen these types of technologies and have limited exposure to them. So I hope we continue to share what we get the privilege of being exposed to with these communities. And I know that EDA and Georgia AIM and Donna, thank you, will continue to do that for the future.
So I grew up in a county that doesn't have a stoplight unless there's a landslide. And we have a little bit of a chip on our shoulder because of that rural nature and a lack of resources. And people kind of make fun of us, like, you're in California, why do you have a Southern accent? So just trying to overcome the imposter syndrome that a lot of the Central Valley and nearby mountain communities experience is one thing that I'm hoping more people will see themselves. We're adopting an entrepreneurial mindset, which means that if we don't invent it, it won't exist. And that the people who are closest to the problems are likely the ones with the best solutions, or at least the ones that will do the least harm. And so the thing that I hope stays with Fresno-Merced, San Joaquin Valley, is everyone is an innovator and everyone has something to contribute to the improvement of our region's food and climate systems.
Thank you. All right, friends. Well, that wraps up our panel, but I will say that I did not select these ladies for this panel, but I could not have selected a better group of women to represent the work that is happening across these coalitions. You are inspiring. You make me proud to work at EDA and be your partner. And let's give it up for these agents of innovation. Thank you, guys.
Agents of innovation. I like that. I love that. Thank you so much, Angie, Kenya, Salem. That was incredible. Yes. Thank you, Debbie.